everyone. I'm a little late to this, but I got distracted watching figure skating and also Legend of Vox Machina. But here's my summary slash little guide to Olympics snowboarding and free skiing in 2022. So the women's slopestyle snowboarding qualifiers already happened, and yeah, it looked like they kind of struggled with the course. Jumps are a little odd, but they're slowly getting the hang of it. It is artificial snow, which takes some time to get used to. But yeah, so slopestyle is judged using the criteria of Dave. It's also the half pipe judging is so D difficulty, A amplitude, how high you go, V variety of tricks, and E execution. I noticed if we're watching in the U.S., the broadcast has a little guide at the corner of the screen for the last three jumps, and so you don't have to count how many rotations; they count it for you, and they'll even mark whether the landing was sketchy or really well done. I have some mixed feelings about it because I was like, no one wants to be called sketchy. But yeah, it'll help kind of the layperson get an idea of at least part of the slopestyle. But the top half is also really important. That's the rails. And I think what's going to really determine who's going to win is how people approach the many options and kind of the features that they want to hit, in addition to having clean jumps at the bottom. So Zoe Sayasi-Sinha is apparently the odds-on favorite. Like they showed betting odds, and she's world champion, won X Games. Obviously, very good at what she does. Jamie Anderson is looking for the three-peat, so I think it's gonna turn into a head-to-head battle, and according to insider info via Todd Richards, Jamie might have the edge because she is taking the more creative lines, and she didn't do as well as she wanted in prelims, and knowing Jamie, that's just gonna fan the flames in the fire she already has. We kind of saw that with this year's qualifying where she didn't do so well at Du Tour, and then in the next big competition at Mammoth, she just killed it. So I'm actually thinking Jamie might take it, but who knows? It's going to be really close with kind of the battle for third, featuring Japanese riders, Reita Iwabuchi and Koko Murase, who qualified second. I think Kokomo and Reita will give Zoe and Jamie a run for their monies, along with the other Americans, Haley Langland and Julia Marino. I think they might have a shot at spots on the podium. And I personally loved Lori Blouin. She brought in a lot of style, even if she may not be spinning as much. But yeah, she'll be really interesting to watch. Over in the men's slopestyle, it's going to be an even tougher competition because there are so many great riders out there. Personally, I think Mark Mcmorris wants that gold. He's gotten 2 bronzes. He was kind of hurt in the past couple Olympics or recovering from injury, but he's healthy now. He's, still one of the best snowboarders out there after 10 years. So I think he wants that gold and very likely will get it if Red Gerard does not defend. And even though Red was the surprise medalist in Pyeongchang, he's put in a lot of work and has continued to progress his riding and just be one of the top riders. So he could defend the gold. I think if we were to see a third year in a row with a surprise gold medalist, it would probably be somebody like Rene Renekangas, who definitely has the skills to win, but sometimes he goes a little too big and it gets a little squirrely and is a little overly ambitious. But I kind of want him to win and be that surprise unlikely hero, because he is the definition of a cinnamon roll. Other snowboarders have called him pure serotonin in human form. He is just an overall great guy, so much positive energy, and would be a fun person to see take the gold. Yeah, before I get ahead of myself, there's actually a much better preview of who's going to take the podium spots in snowboarding at the Bomb Hole podcast. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, shout outs to the Bomb Hole because they got not only Todd Richards to call in, but Sage Kotzenberg was a guest and provided his 2 cents along with what he saw when he was out riding with some of the athletes. So moving on to Snowboard Big Air. So all the slopestyle riders also qualify for Big Air. I find that a little interesting. I guess it kind of saves, having to figure out who does what. But you're obviously going to see some people specialize a little bit better with Big Air. Like in women's, Miyabio Nizuka didn't qualify for slopestyle. I know she's disappointed, but she excels in Big Air, very progressive, has some of the sick tricks. Anna Gasser could get another gold. Just her gymnastics background always comes in handy, and she has the triple underflip turned. I think triple cork is now what she's able to do. But again, Zoe and Jamie are just so amazing. They could also be contenders. They've both learned some 1260 double corks, and just they're very clean with their riding. So yeah, it could be any of those women. In the men's, I think you're gonna see Max Perot excel. He's got so many X Games medals in Big Air. He had cancer in 2019, but made a full recovery before the year was over, and then went on to compete in X Games Norway and won the gold. So he's very determined, very hardworking. Has all the triple corks. Also, this might be where Rene shines because he has all the big tricks, and he threw down some 1980s over at the X Games. And you'll also have Chris Corning, who has been doing really well in slopestyle, but also can throw down the really big tricks with Big Air. So he's another one to watch. And then we move on to half pipe, which is kind of where all the focus of American media is because of Chloe Kim and Shaun White. In women's, even though Chloe Kim took her time off, she really has been working hard. She's got some new tricks in the bag. I don't think she's whipped them out just yet in competition, but she was pushed kind of close to the edge over at Dew Tour where she won at her last run. But I think after kind of that stressful moment, she's kind of got a better feel for how to approach competition, and having that mental health break has done her a lot of good, and I think she's just going to dominate again. Really, it's a battle for a second and third, and you're going to see people like the other American, Maddie Mastro, who has beaten Chloe in the past, has had some issues with past competitions where she's gotten hurt, but just solid tricks, and if she's riding well, I think she'll definitely be a podium contender. And then you've got Carol Castlette, who is a longtime competitor in slopestyle, or not slopestyle, in half pipe, but recently in the past couple of years, she's just started to consistently make the podium, or at least top 5. Won in X Games a few years ago. Her coach is Danny Cass, who won Olympics back in 2014. I've forgotten, 2010. He was part of the men's sweep, so he's kind of helped her refine some of that. It's the Ian Dave execution, make those landings really solid. Worked on those grabs and tweaking out the moves. And then there's also the Chinese snowboarders who not only do they have a home team advantage, Jiayu Liu and Shitong Tsai have been training overseas, both in America and in Europe, and doing all the contests, and they've just progressed through the years so that they're not just doing the spins, that they're getting the amplitude, they're getting the grabs, they're being really smooth, they're throwing in their own style. I think just getting enmeshed in the snowboarding culture through the years has really helped them kind of show the passion that they have, and then it translates to the writing that just has allowed them to be other podium contenders. So yeah, other ones to watch out for. And then in the U.S., the big story is Shaun White retiring. I think it's time. Like, I don't want to be rude, but I saw him at Dude Tour, and he doesn't quite have the level of tricks that some of the other competitors have. Um, I know people rag on him for sometimes pulling out of contests, but I think because this is the end, he's going to give it his all, try his hardest, maybe, come close to the podium, maybe even podium, because he is a hard worker and he still goes way higher than almost everybody else in the field. But you've got Scotty James, who has consistently dominated snowboard competition, give or take a couple of not so great results like in locks. But he won X Games this year again. He's got the switch double cork 1260, a lot of technical tricks. Just works really hard. You can tell that his snowboarding is like powerful, it's smooth, just looks good. But I think if Scotty doesn't disrupt the Japanese podium, because I do think Scotty will get gold or silver, we could have a Japanese sweep if Scotty falls or just has a bad time. There are 4 Japanese snowboarders, all of whom are super good. Ayumu Hirano debuted at the first ever triple cork on a half pipe in competition at Dew Tour, rode away from it, so he got it down. He just has to kind of maintain this speed to keep it going. But Ayumu is really hungry because I think he really wanted gold, and then Shaun White took it last Olympics on the last run. However, his younger brother Kaishu Hirano is also kind of starting to make his way up in the ranks. Got a lot of great energy, definitely catches a lot of air. So Kaishu, and then there's Ruka Hirano, who is not related to the other two. Also just another great snowboarder who goes huge and puts in a lot of style. And then the 4th Japanese snowboarder, Yuto Totsuka, has been on fire since 2020, 2021. Just found just that magic ingredient that has allowed him to combine just the style, the amplitude, the technicality, and he was dominating contests for a little bit. Now I think everybody else is kind of catching up, but then now they're all learning triples. Supposedly Scotty James has been secretly working on the triples, so it's going to be almost a Japanese dominant podium with an Australian on top, I think is how it's probably going to play out. And when I talk about triple corks or double corks, so you've got the rotated sections like the 360s, 540s, all the way up to 1260s, 1980s even. That's the number of times you spin kind of on a horizontal axis. The cork is where you start flipping forwards while you're spinning sideways, so it adds another layer of rotation. And so what they always say is you look to see if their shoulder or their head is dipping. That usually means they're corking. So triple cork, you're dipping 3 times while you're also rotating sideways. It's super dangerous, super hard, but it's become the norm in slopestyle, and looks like it's going to be that way for half pipe. Double corks are the norm, and everybody wants to do triples now, so we'll see that. Big air, I don't know if the jump is big enough for a quad cork. It's a pretty big jump. It's kind of narrow on some of the takeoffs, so I don't know, but quad corks have been done, but it usually requires a very specialized jump for that. Okay, moving on to skiing. So I'm covering the ski events that kind of parallel with snowboarding, the free skiing events. I don't know why they didn't do Big Air last year, because basically free skiing has the same events as snowboarding, but I don't know. I'm not in charge of the Olympics, but it is part of it this year. So same deal. Slopestyle competitors also compete in Big Air. For women's, actually in slopestyle, halfpipe, and Big Air, you're going to see a battle between Kelly Sildaru from Estonia and Eileen Gu. Kelly was a teenage prodigy at a young age. She had to miss Pyeongchang because of injury, so I think she's ready to show the whole world what she's got since she's been dominating X Games for so long. Eileen Gu broke onto the scene a couple years ago. She's Chinese American, has chosen to represent China to help promote free skiing among women, especially in China. Uh, and yeah, both of them are highly competitive, doing all the events, excelling at all of them, just having all the big tricks. I think Kelly has got more of that competitive experience, but Eileen seems to have her own style. Kelly can get a little robotic sometimes, but Eileen seems to get cleaner grabs. Seems just kind of puts her own flair to stuff, but it's gonna depend on what the judges kind of favor, if they want kind of the little details or the clean landings with the technical tricks. It's who knows. Judging's already been kind of pretty weird with the women's snowboard slopestyle qualifiers, so it's anybody's game. But yeah, Eileen versus Kelly is going to be the big story in women's skiing and all the events. However, you do have defending gold medalists Sarah Hofflin, still a contender for both slopestyle and big air. Often, if she's not on top of the podium, she's second or third. She did crash kind of hard at the X Games, but she took time off. Like, she withdrew to recover, so I think she'll be all right. And over in halfpipe, this is going to be Devin Logan's last competitive season. She used to be a triple threat too, and she's got a silver in slopestyle. She's choosing to concentrate on pipe this year. I don't know if she's gonna have the tricks the way like Eileen and Kelly do, but I think she wants to close out her competitive career with a bang. So worth seeing her see how she does. Rachel Carker from Canada is another skier who's been doing really well in the past couple of years. And then the Atkins sisters from Great Britain. Izzy was a medalist in slopestyle. I think she got silver, so looking to improve that. Zoe competes in halfpipe. Has been, working her way up to the ranks in competition. Don't know if she's going to get the podium this year, but, maybe just having a little bit of that sibling rivalry and, wanting to medal like her sister will give her the edge. And sometimes if you're not the highest ranked, that pressure is off of you. And that is why we sometimes see the surprise medalists and surprise winners, because, the focus isn't on them. And so they can kind of relax a little and just do their thing. Over in men's ski slopestyle, Oystein Broughton is not competing in the Olympics. He chose to go filming, which totally valid. That's definitely a cool thing to do. That does open the door up for Nick Gepper to get gold. Yeah, he's still skiing really well. I think the American team is really solid. You got Colby Stevenson, who's won a couple of X Games, came back from like a horrific crash a few years ago to, this top level. And he goes big, has really sick style. Alex Hall has been a force to be reckoned with, and he's kind of intimidating in person. So maybe this is why I think he's just he is a man on a mission. He's over 6 feet tall. He busted out I'm gonna do my math. Is it 20? Let's see. So 1980s in ski big air is almost standard, like 1800, 1980s, pretty standard. The what is it? The 2260 is what Alex Hall unveiled at the X Games. So there's a joke among the announcers that skiing is going to reach its limit when we go into the future. The future is here. Alex Hall has brought it. He apparently has some other tricks in his bag. He's got some unique grabs. And he's not just a one trick guy. He's got some great lines when he does slope style, and I think he excels in filming too. So I think that'll help him get some unique lines. So he's definitely up there to be a contender. Andre Rigetli was bronze in Pyeongchang. just won X Games gold. Another guy who has big tricks, can get a little too big and kind of squirrely, but he's known to put it together down at his last run. So I think he'll do what it takes to get the gold. Matej Sponsor is kind of a breakout star in some of I think there was a qualifying event. I think it was in Copper. It could be wrong. It was in Copper or Mammoth. He kind of was a breakout star in Big Air. He's got some kind of wild, like quirky type of spins and grabs. So another one to watch out for. I thought he kind of got underscored at the X Games, so may not be what the judges are looking for, but he's going to be super entertaining. Okay, so I got a little distracted and was cold and clock was ticking down, so kind of missed a few heavy hitters in men's ski halfpipe. So rewind, and we're going to talk about that. So as I said, David Wise is looking to three-peat. Definitely has a good chance. Hopefully he won't be losing his skis, because they came off his bindings in Pyeongchang. It's been happening again recently, but hopefully he's got that fixed up. Alex Ferreira is another American candidate for the gold. Just super strong skier for a long time now. I think he got silver in Pyeongchang, and so, looking forward to it. American Burke Irving has been having a really good season and could pull off a surprise win as well. But you've got some stiff competition with the Porteous brothers. Nico Porteous has been on one and, winning X Games due tour, I believe. So he's been skiing solid, wanting to upgrade his Olympic medal. His brother Miguel is following in his footsteps and also throwing down some huge tricks, working his way up the ranks. So they will be a force to be reckoned with. Just the New Zealand ski scene is pretty badass, and they are definitely representative of it. You might have noticed Gus Kenworthy is skiing for his mother's home country of Britain. He's closing out his career as a competitive skier. Also, one of the former triple threats, looking to get a medal this time in halfpipe. He's still skiing really well. I know he had a couple of setbacks with getting COVID, and people say he's distracted. I actually don't think that's what it is. It's just he doesn't post skiing. He kind of posts, stories about his life, activism, because he has a broader fan base. He's actually been training and working at it, getting a solid halfpipe run. Didn't quite have the showing he wanted at his last X Games, but was, still throwing down, the heavy double corks and six tricks. So think he could maybe be up there. And yeah, I know we've also got some Chinese skiers who maybe they're still kind of new to the scene, but I think they're gonna maybe later be a force to be reckoned with, kind of the way snowboarding has progressed throughout the years ever since it entered the Olympics. The Chinese program, they're kind of notorious for picking people who they think have the potential to win gold, but then, as we've seen with the snowboarders, they've kind of learned that, this thing is cool, this thing is fun, and the ones who stick with it the longest are the ones who are truly dedicated. So even if we're not going to see Chinese skiers on the podium right now, they're going to give us a taste of maybe what's to come in the future. And so this is my schedule, so I'm not going to say when everything is. You can go look online and pick out the events, because there's a lot of events, and I'm trying to catch as much as I can. Unfortunately, you do need cable to be able to stream some of it, or you got to get the Peacock Premium. Kind of sucks, but they'll show replays later on if you're unable to catch the live feeds. So I will see y'all later in text form when I write the recap in about a month from now. Peace.